All right, hello, ladies and gentlemen out there in YouTube land that do it yourself. Here with another video, a little review on a Chicago electric welding cart from Harbor Freight. I actually got an extra 10% off on mine. It was $44 and something, I think, and I got another 10% off on it. The package was opened, it was taped back up. The lady came up and said, hey, give him another 10% off on this. I actually went in there to get some welding magnets, and she gave me another 10% off. And the reason why I got the cart, well, there's what my little Lincoln sits on. It's an old pressure washer cart. It's worked fine, but I'm about to get a little 110 inverter arc welder. And we're going to see. If it don't do the job that I got it for, then we'll go from there. Because all I've ever needed was a MIG welder, but I'm about to do some cast welding, and I'm not going to do that with a MIG. So we're going to do it right. But anyway, let's get on with the video here about the little cart, a little review, and what I found when right out of the box. And here it is. Got it together. Seems to be a sturdy cart after I got it together. It's pretty sturdy. I've actually sat on this, and I'm 180 pounds. So I sat on this thing. It held me. It says 100-pound captivity. It sat on it. It didn't wobble or nothing. So now, with all that being said, let's go to the back here where your tank goes. Well, let's start over. Let's go to the instructions. They don't, for some people that don't know, it don't tell you what tools you need. 10 millimeter wrench, and a Phillips. Personally, socket and a wrench. That's all you need, really. Maybe a pair of pliers for the little carter pins you have for the back wheels. Now, the back wheels, let's go to this. It's got your axle runs through, which is a solid. It has a solid tube under there, so that was nice. It's not just an axle through a little piece on one end and a piece on the other. It is a solid tube all the way across. It gives you 5 washers, one extra, and it gives you an extra pin. Now, after I put it together, I realized there's just a little bit too much slop in them wheels. I don't want slop in them wheels if I've got a tank back here, to be honest, especially, you put a bigger tank. Let's just say that's all you got. It's a big tank. Will it fit in there? Yeah, it's close. It's tight. But you don't want that slop. Now, personally, I didn't. So I added a couple. I put the other extra washer in on one side, and I added a washer on another, and that made that pretty good then. So happy with that. That actually made the cart feel a little sturdier sitting on the ground. It gives you a couple of chains. There they are in the bag. I probably won't use them. I'm actually going to come back, and I'm going to make something a little different here. I'm going to do probably some kind of a little metal guard, and then a chain maybe at the top, because this is not tall enough. And I want to make, if you got a tall bottle, you want something that's actually going to support this bottle a little better. Personally, me, I do. So I've got holes there I can actually make brackets to. So they give you the holes where you hook your chains through. There they are. You got 2 at the top and 2 down there at the bottom. And I'm going to do something different. I'll figure that out another day. Now, when you get the instructions, like I said, it don't tell you what you need. Personally, a pair of pliers, 10 millimeter wrench, 10 millimeter socket, and don't worry about the first 1 or 2 pages. Just flip all the way on over here to the back. That's about all you need to know right there. And look at the box. If you can't figure it out, that makes it more simpler. Now, they sent a few extra little bolts. There's 33 of each. It tells you what they sent. Other than that, let's move this out of the way. Move them chains out of the way. Now, let's go to the bolting of it. Putting it all together, first thing you do is the base, of course. Put your wheels on, put your casters on. It's got 2 swivel casters in the front. And then your 2 solid wheels in the back on your axle. Now, put them on, and I bolted on. Now, it shows you in the instructions to turn all your bolts pretty much in. Like this right here. Nut to the inside. The same down here in this pan. This bottom shelf. I did not do that. I don't want to be grabbing stuff if I got something down here. And actually, I'm going to be putting a little inverter 110 stick welder down here. Because I have a job that I'm going to be doing with some casts, and I can't do that with a MIG welder and do it properly. So it's a job that calls for a stick, and we're going to see if I can do this job with that. Actually, it's an old, it's over 100-year-old coal cast iron stove. So I've got a couple of cracks in it, and I want to weld it up, and I've got a welder coming tomorrow, and this is what I've been using, a little old pressure washer cart for my Lincoln welder. So, and I always set my bottles to the side or whatever. So I figured, well, you know, I don't want to have something else sitting in the floor or whatever because I'm limited on space in my little shop here. And so I can put that little inverter down here, MIG up top, you know, and go ahead and put my bottle in the back. Put anything else I need for the center shelf here, you know, whatever. Now, but when it comes to the bolting of this, like I said, it shows you to put the bolt in from the bottom and your nut in the top here. I did not do that. I did not even do that on this side here because you've got a lip here already. I'm not worried about catching that nut, that bolt right there. But if it was turned in, you'd be catching it. If you got stuff in here, you'd be hitting it. I didn't like that, so I turned them the other way, there and there. The only place I did turn them around is here where you have your hooks on each side for your lines for your welder. I did turn them in there, you know, and I did back here because there's no lip on this back piece. This is smooth here, so I turned them in here. That was it. Other than that, you know, I just didn't want all the bolts. I didn't want to be catching bolts as I'm the end of the bolts if I'm putting something in and out and hitting them with my hands because this is where your hand's going to be, not out here. And you got a lip on this thing, so I'm not worried about it out here. But anyway, it seems to be a pretty sturdy little cart. You can't get the sides wrong. They got you right or left, and it shows you what side up. Now, when it comes to tightening these bolts up, now, after you do your base, get your wheels on, tighten them up, do your base. Put all the bolts in first. Now, I tightened these as when I got together. You don't have to. You can wait and tighten these up last two. But I went ahead and tightened these after I put all these on, and you put the shelves on. Then it tells you to put the back on, which is fine. Now, I did that no matter what. I was still a little off here, but that's no big deal. No big deal. And, but when you tighten these bolts up now, once you get all the bolts in, all the shelves on just like it is, and when you go to tighten it up, you got one here, one in the center here from the bottom, and one over there on that side. Tighten, push this forward as far as you can first, and you'll see this lines up here. Tighten these three down here first. And then after I tightened them three, I came up here. This made this firmer. I pushed, if I had it, you still have a little slack. So I kind of like pushed that forward a little bit. I tightened down here then. Then I tightened the legs down here and tightened up here. And then I went around, tightened the back here, and then I tightened the center shelf. And the reason why, you don't want it to be all cockeyed. You'll be loosening and tightening it all, loosening it up, tightening it up. Tighten them three bolts. It don't tell you none of that in the manual. So tighten this back panel, these bottom three bolts first. Push this forward and tighten them. And then you can come up here and tighten. You can tighten the bottom ones. And I don't see where you couldn't tighten the top too. If it looks good, go ahead and tighten them. And that's what I did. And then I tightened the other bolts in the shelves. Other than that, I did put Loctite. Now, they don't come with lock washers or nothing like that. So for these casters in the front, I put a little Loctite on the bottom of them. That's just for my peace of mind down the road. I don't have to worry about them working loose if I'm moving it around a lot. Other than that, it seems to be a sturdy little old cart. like I said, I'm going to put my welder up here, and I've got that little arc welder, a little inverter welder coming, and that gives me room at the bottom to put it in. So, and that way I can eliminate something here, and I don't have, to make the best out of what space I have. Like I said, I got a big job I'm about to do. This is going to heat my building next year, instead of me using a lot of propane, and I got to fill that crack and another crack. I still got some prep work to do on this stove. But, yeah, this thing was nice. It's got the the ceramic coatings on the other cast iron pieces that come off of it. Real old. They call them a parlor stove. But like I said, the main reason that's why I got this cart, and it's the 100-pound captivity welding cart from Harbor Freight. And just want to let you know my little thing, putting it together, because the instructions are not, hey, for the person that don't really know, you're going to be reading them instructions, you're going to put everything together, you're going to tighten a bolt as you go. Don't do that. Put all the bolts in. Once you get everything together, come back, and the first ones you want to tighten is the ones at the bottom of this back panel. Tighten them up, and then come up here and tighten these. Personally, what I did is after I tightened them, I come over here and I tighten these top ones. I went to the bottom, and then I tightened the shelves, the shelf bolts. I went ahead and tightened them up. And like I said, the back wheels, I added extra washers in both sides because I didn't want that slop. So, other than that, it seems to be a pretty good little cart. Like I said, I'm gonna do something different. This is where I guess if you want to move it, you grab it here and pull it, which is fine. But back here, for the tank, I don't, them two little chains I don't like. I'm going to make something a little better here. I'll do something different down the road, and I might show you. I'll come back and show you. Do something different, because I'll have a bigger tank on here. And I want to make sure it holds it up. But it seems to hold pretty good. Like I said, I stood on it, and I sat on it. So it didn't creak or nothing. So pretty solid little old cart. Other than that, just want to do my little quick review on it and putting it together, and there you go. Is it worth its money? They're $44, I think. Yes, I get, because I have seen this same cart on eBay and on Amazon from $79 to $89 to $109. This same little cart. Harbor Freight's got it for $44. That was well worth the money. I don't get too much stuff from Harbor Freight, but when I do, it's something that I know it's going to, it's got to be something pretty good and decent. And everything I have gotten so far, I've never had an issue with. Shop press is still doing good. If you've seen some of my videos some years back on it, I made a couple of little adjustments to it. Other than that little shop press has pressed and pressed and pressed. I have not had one problem out of that bottle jack. And I've probably pressed things I shouldn't have had under this thing. So it is done excellent. But other than that, just a little review on this. And to let you know, for the people that don't, putting it together, it don't really tell you in that book. So like I said, when you get it all the bolts in, tighten that back piece and go from there. That way it alleviates the stress and the angles of how the shelves and how the cart's supposed to be. And then come up here and start tightening the top, the bottom, and then do your center shelves. That way it's all in place. Nothing stressed. A bolt ain't stressed. You can pull everything together and you can get them good and tight. Just a note to don't over tighten. Some people don't realize that. They'll sit here and torque bolts down. Don't over tighten, because they don't give you washers to put behind these nuts and screw these on these bolts. And so don't over tighten and pull through. I think you'll be fine. The holes are not no bigger than the actual bolt, really, but just word of caution. And but there you go, my little review on the welding cart, 100-pound welding cart from Harbor Freight. Seems to be a good little buy right here. So, thanks for looking.